Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So Donald Trump just wrapped up a town hall at CNN and he had a lot of vintage moments. It was a pretty good town hall for him walking into the lion's den and commanding that room. Definitely something that bolsters his 2024 nomination odds. But this video is not about that. We'll be discussing that tomorrow, likely on a live stream. But this video is going to be about the Senate. I was going to do this video. Wanted to get it out to you guys because it is important. And Republicans have such an easy path to retake the Senate. It is unreal how favorable this map is. Maybe one of the most historically favorable maps for any party to retake the chamber, because you have seats in West Virginia, Ohio, Montana that are in states that are deep red, probably going to go Republican at the presidential level by 10 or more, and you have increasing polarization. Republicans likely going to run some better candidates this time around. And on top of that, you have a three-way race happening in the state of Arizona. You have incumbents in Wisconsin and Nevada that are overrated, and while it's not likely that they pick up Pennsylvania with somebody like Bob Casey there unless they win the state at the presidential level by like 3 or more, this is still a more than favorable map. However, Mitch McConnell, who helped drop the ball last time in 2022 when that map was still relatively favorable, he wants to do it again. And Democrats are failing with their recruits. We'll talk about that, but still Mitch McConnell wanting to drop the ball with his allocation of resources, being selfish yet again. The turtle has got to go, and we'll be discussing that in this video. But first, I have to tell you guys about our very good friends over at Noble Gold. There's no denying it. Gold is hot right now. Prices are soaring. Experts are predicting even more to come. Not so long ago, gold reached its all-time high of $2,069 an ounce, and now it's inching ever closer to that number again. Bank of America says it's going to hit $2,200 later this year. So, gold's already a safety net for your hard-earned money, and now when the stock market's all over the place and the value of the dollar is uncertain, being safe really counts like never before. Noble Gold is offering a 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin for any qualified IRA or old 401k rollover. Terms apply. A solid silver U.S. Mint-issued coin celebrating our national parks is free with every qualifying precious metals IRA or 401k rollover. You cannot go wrong with Noble Gold Investments. That's 877-646-5347 or noblegoldinvestments.com. Again, noblegoldinvestments.com. So Democrats are dropping the ball with their Senate recruits. And in Texas, they're dropping the football. In Florida, they'd be dropping the basketball. We'll talk about why, because you have former NFL linebacker turned Dallas area representative Colin Allred, who consistently underperforms the top of the ticket and also underperforms Biden by 5 in 2020 and by 2, were in a much easier district in 2022. He's running. The Dems are drafting him in Texas, and this guy went out there and has said that it would be better off if the Second Amendment hadn't been written, and he co-sponsors a lot of gun bills. In fact, he's probably even worse on the issue of guns and the Second Amendment than Beto was after he had his 2020 campaign. Because if you don't remember, Ted Cruz, he was unpopular, blue wave year. Beto ran this campaign, goes to every county, is a fake moderate, doesn't talk about guns, says he's fine with them, fine with oil. He still had his woke tendencies, whatever, but then he goes on the campaign trail and stands on tables and shouts like a crackhead about how he's going to take all the guns away, and then he runs for governor in 2022. Horrible year for Republican governors for the most part, and he loses by 11 points to Greg Abbott. And that is very telling. And then now Democrats are somehow coming up with a worse recruit to rally behind who likely is going to do very poorly, especially because Cruz will likely take this challenge a lot more seriously than he took 2018. Then what's their other flip? Because that was supposed to be their potential pickup. They kind of dropped the ball there. I'm not saying it can't be close still. Texas isn't what it used to be, but Cruz likely gets by. Florida's their other shot. And even then, Rick Scott, yeah, he's meh, but still Florida now is Florida now. This probably will be the end of him winning elections by a hair, because that's kind of what he's known for his entire career. And what do Democrats want to do? They want to run Grant Hill or Dwayne Wade for the Senate race. Dwayne Wade is somebody who is very woke on a lot of issues. He's woke on the gender issues. He's very pro-BLM. He is essentially a far-left mouthpiece who is like an armchair mouthpiece, and he just got done with his NBA career, and he's not a fan of Florida. He's left consistently. He's more of a Chicago guy. He's from Chicago. I believe a lot of family there. He even left them to go play for the Bulls. And then you have Grant Hill, who has a residency there, but hasn't really been that active in the state since 2007 when he played for the Magic. And even then, he's more known for carrying the teal-era Pistons. So it's like the Democrats are dropping the ball here. They're coming up with recruits that are even worse than somebody like Herschel Walker. Obviously, these outsider athletes, no experience in Florida, and then somebody who's a gun grabber in the state of Texas, is not a fan of oil, doesn't even pretend to try to be moderate. So it should be easy for Republicans to go out there and flip the Senate, right? Well, Mitch McConnell disagrees. McConnell says he's not confident, by the way. He says, I'm not confident Republicans are going to retake the Senate. I wonder why. Said the same thing last time. You know why? It's because he doesn't want to retake the Senate. He's comfortable governing in the minority. And obviously, I think Republicans do retake the Senate. I'm not saying that they don't, but Mitch McConnell is holding them back so much, and he needs to go. And say what you will about Kevin McCarthy, I didn't exactly support his speakership. I wanted somebody else. I liked the standoff. It kept him in check a lot more. But still, somebody like Mitch McConnell, he is objectively worse than McCarthy. It's not even close, by the way. And the Senate, obviously, it's going to be more swampy than the House. It's where all the big money is. The House, at least you have a solid delegation going. In the Senate, you have a couple of people. You have your Vances, your Hawleys, and then there's some other people that can be solid. But there's a lot of rhinos in the Senate, or just weak establishmentarian individuals that are going to be there for a long time, and we're going to have to slowly get rid of them. But what we know is that McConnell sees 4 states as key. And yeah, he does acknowledge that regardless, he wants to spend in Ohio, Montana, West Virginia, regardless of the nominee. That's a good thing. I will say that's good, even though that's something that a dog could come up with being a solid strategy. Not spending in Ohio, regardless of whoever the nominee is just dumb. That is not going to be a race that you have 0 shot in whatsoever. Pennsylvania, however, is his 4th priority. That's his priority, Pennsylvania, because he thinks that carpetbagger, social liberal Dave McCormick is going to go out there and defeat Bob Casey. Pro-free trade, by the way, no chance. 0 shot whatsoever. And you could critique the Oz candidacy from 2022 all you want, or you could say somebody like Mastriano will be underfunded again and do far worse than McCormick or way down the ticket, fine. But still, McCormick is an objectively awful fit for Pennsylvania. The fact that that's what he's banking his hopes on, and that's a higher priority than Arizona, it's disgraceful. That's a disaster. And even more winnable states like Wisconsin and Nevada, he's still assessing. He's probably waiting to see if he can get his nominee in there. And if not, he'll abandon them, even if they have an outside chance at victory in those states. And now McConnell's not the only one in charge of this. Steve Daines is a lot better than Rick Scott, who is the NRSC chair. And it's not like it's all over because McConnell says something dumb, but still the fact that you have this mindset and the fact that he still is playing some sort of a role is a disaster. And then when it comes to Arizona, he's likely waiting until the primary to decide whether to spend there. Whoever gets 46%, if the Republicans can get that number in the 3-way race in Arizona, where you have a crazy far-left candidate in Gallego, and then you have Sinema, who probably will take some of the more like centrist Dem LARPers and some of these McCain-style Republicans. Regardless, these MAGA America First candidates do have a high floor in the state of Arizona. And running somebody like Kari Lake, if Kari Lake is the Republican nominee, she can win that race. You might not say she's favored if you want to play that game, but she definitely can win that 3-way race. And to say, oh, we're not going to fund these candidates because we just don't like him, it just speaks volumes of the fact that he's just comfortable holding power in the minority and just being that guy who could show up at all of those donor events and the dinner parties, take the money, and then do nothing with it. Just squander it because he's a loser. He does not want to win, and he is not somebody who has the best interest of this country in mind. He doesn't. He's an obstructionist is what he is. He'll focus on all the wrong issues. He's cut from that cloth. And then he says he doesn't see Sinema joining the Republicans. He wants Kyrsten Sinema who's not even that popular in general in Arizona, by the way, among anybody, joining the Republican Party over getting somebody actually competent and the most solid person you possibly can have in the state of Arizona. He'd rather have Sinema. And he also goes on the record to say he's not confident that they will take back the majority. All you have to do is let Allred and who knows, maybe Dwayne Wade drop the ball in those states. You don't lose anything. You're at, what, 49? You'll get West Virginia regardless. And who knows if Manchin's even going to run. And then on top of that, you're going to probably win Montana. You probably win Ohio. You have to take one of those two. And to say you're not confident in that, I understand we have to be cautious and not overconfident. That's why I'm making this video. We get it. But this notion that, oh, you can't win the Senate back or it's going to be an uphill climb, it's ridiculous that Mitch McConnell's sitting there and he's already wish-casting Republicans a loss in a way. And that's a problem because we have to have this mentality that we're going to go in this to win this. And there is a priority list. And yes, it does go West Virginia, Ohio, Montana. Those two are pretty much even. And then Arizona. Then Wisconsin and Nevada are pretty much even. And then at that point, maybe you could look at a place like Michigan or Pennsylvania if something drastic happens or if it's a surprisingly good year for Republicans or there's a recession. We could discuss that then and there. But still, this notion that, oh, we're doomed, it's Jover, that McConnell wants to lay that down before we're even to 2024, the calendar year. Absolutely ridiculous. And he's waiting to see if his nominees are jumping in or the people that he wants so he could fund those candidates so he can have his own lapdogs there. Yeah, he's not a team player, and that's a major problem. Steve Daines is a lot more of a team player than Mitch McConnell, and it's a good thing that he's the NRSC chair. But still, it's like, oh, we didn't land Sinema. It's over. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And he did go on to say, like, he's not going to be a never Trumper. He's going to fence sit on the primary, just stay out of it, whatever. I wouldn't really expect him to get involved either way, even though we know who he supports behind the scenes. And then it's just like, yeah, we'll have to see what happens come November 2024, but still this notion that these candidates can't win or should be abandoned, it's absolutely ridiculous. He abandoned Blake Masters in 2022. And obviously, if Masters was evenly funded, maybe he would not have won because Kelly was still a strong candidate and the Social Security thing definitely played a role. But the guy had to shut down campaign offices all over the state because he couldn't get that funding. There was really no way for him to get his message out. And the fact that he only lost by, 4-5 against an incumbent in retrospect seems a little bit less disappointing when you take all of these things into consideration. But what we do know is that Mitch McConnell needs to go. A lot of these people in the GOP establishment still need to go. Republicans still are likely going to retake the Senate, but it's going to be no thanks to somebody like Mitch McConnell, who is already wish-casting them not to retake the Senate. And it's very important because let's say Trump goes out there and wins in 2024. He wins the presidency, which again, if he does that, probably the Senate's going to go Republican, but he needs the strongest majority possible so he can go out there and enact his agenda. You got to get the House, which again, that's going to come down to redistricting. That's going to be razor thin regardless, more likely than not. But also, you do need to get the Senate as well. You got to get those two together. You got to get the trifecta. You're going to be able to go out there, legislate, and hopefully you'll have a lot more competent leadership in those two chambers than what we saw with Ryan and McConnell in Trump's first go-around. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.